Good morning, children. August the 30th. 2 days left in this glorious month. Um, I'll be keeping you up to date on the weather in Thailand here. Very interesting month. They call it the rainy season, July and August. If you remember in Forrest Gump, where Gump says one day in Vietnam it started raining and it rained for 4 months. Close. It was raining pretty hard, pretty long every day for the better part of the last 2 months. And then a couple days ago, it was a little overcast, a little gray in the morning like it is now, but not raining. And then it was like 95 degrees all day. I mean, just blazing hot, kind of like it was back in April. It's the hot month, right? It was the hot month and the rainy month. And, if we can make it through September, if we can limp through September, which who knows what that holds in store for us, especially with COVID still a thing, because the powers that be want it to be. We'll see what happens in September, and then allegedly, supposedly, October is the high season, and that's when things get back to normal here. So, October, November, December, January should be 4 good months. We need them. This town needs them. This country needs them. The world needs them. So, let's all pray and hope for that. So the 30th, don't blame children who are bad. Blame those who failed to discipline them. Oh, my boy Napoleon Hill is going old school here. He's talking about Antifa, and he wrote this stuff, almost 100 years ago. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that amazing how that stuff from back then applies today? Wow. Let's see what he has to say about our children's in Antifa who put down their Xboxes long enough to go pull down statues and burn and loot businesses. Ralph Waldo Emerson once observed, our chief want in life is somebody who will make us do what we can. In other words, have somebody bring you to your potential. Although children doubtless do not recognize it at the time, they crave discipline, particularly during their formative years. Discipline defines boundaries for them, provides security, and is an active expression of a parent's love. Most important, it prepares them for challenges of adulthood. If your childhood was less than perfect, you are in good company. Most of us have experienced difficulties at one time or another, and we all make mistakes from time to time. The good news is that while your environment as a child will have a profound influence upon the person you become, it is not the sole determinant. The person you choose to be is entirely up to you. Only you can decide who and what you will become in life. So he's talking about self-determination and how you really shouldn't use a bad childhood as an excuse. And I totally agree with that and get that. But in the first paragraph, he's talking about parents who are too self-absorbed, selfish, too busy with their own life, their own career to really properly raise their child. They pop out babies and they're just like, go to school. Let the school take care of them. And by not putting the time and effort into raising them, which is a lot of time and a lot of effort, which most people are not willing to put forth these days in the last 20 years. There's where you get Antifa from. That's where you get a bunch of unloved, undisciplined outsiders. Antifa, when they arrest them, and they do, and they'll continue to arrest them because they're continuing to think they're fighting for, this grand idea, which is nothing but an idea, like we talked about before. That when they get arrested, they all say they feel like outsiders, right? They don't. This is not their country. The country, the older generation who had things, had businesses and had things set up the way they want, keep talking about going back to normal, but what you got to understand is these kids who weren't raised properly don't want normal. And normal, they're sitting in their mom's basement playing Xbox, which, yeah, they like, but they want to be winners. They want to succeed just like you want to succeed. The difference between you and them is they're not willing to work for it. It's easy to go burn and loot and destroy and tear down. The easiest part of a rehab is the demo. Just knocking walls down indiscriminately and tearing shit up. You know, turning a house into a pile of rubble is the easiest part. Building it back up into something beautiful is hard. Antifa doesn't want any part of hard. They don't want to work. They don't want to earn. They have a sense of entitlement. And yeah, it all goes back to their parents. Absolutely blame your parents. And how do you correct the parents? How do you enforce the parents to be good parents? You can't. That's why we're in the mess we're in, guys. When you look out in the street and when you watch the news and they show the rioting, because they want you to be afraid, very afraid, just like with COVID. Be scared, you know. We're going to give you the death numbers every single day. Why is that? Why don't you give me the death numbers on tuberculosis? Why don't you give me the death numbers on the flu? Why don't you give me the death numbers on cancer? Because it doesn't, they have a purpose. They have an agenda. You're being played. And one day you'll wake up and get it. And I hope you understand what a lot of us know now, which is it's bullshit. It's a very real disease, but there's a reason they're pounding those death numbers down your throat every day. There's a reason they want you scared. There's a reason the news is reporting things with a certain slant in a certain way, because they're trying to get you to think and follow a certain way. It's pretty obvious, guys. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. But does that mean that you shouldn't stay in your lane and as far as investment and learn as much as you can and buy and sell as many houses as you can? No, absolutely the opposite. The more crazy the world gets, the more you're going to need money to escape it, to have a plan, like I did, to get the hell out before all the craziness hits, right? Love you guys. Hope things get better before they get worse. But that requires a lot of people waking the hell up and seeing that they're being taken down a path and resisting, which is not in our nature. People, when I say use the word help to help a homeowner, people want to help people by nature, and people want help by nature. But we have too many homeowners needing help in America, and not enough people willing to help them. Not enough warriors like us, right? There's not enough entrepreneurs. There's too many Antifa, too many disassociated kids without an identity who want to change the world because they didn't like the one that they lost. That they're losers. Let's call it what it is. Antifa are losers, and because they're losing, they want to rewrite the rules of the game. And it's up to you whether you let them or not.